The lesson topic for this video is more factoring using GCF and magic number. So what we're going to do here is nothing new. It's just using both factoring out a GCF and factoring using magic number steps. So the first example, 6x squared minus 45x plus 54. The first thing we want to do is we want to check for a GCF. The GCF here, each of these terms has a coefficient that is divisible by 3. So we're going to factor out a 3 for our GCF. And when we do that, we're left with 2x squared minus 15x plus 18. Alright, now we have a quadratic situation in this expression, this trinomial right here, and since this leading coefficient is not a 1, we want to factor this using magic number. Now when we do this, what I'm going to recommend that you do is just kind of think about how you cannot forget this 3, you want to bring it down to our final factored answer, but it'll be kind of in our way if we try to rewrite that every time. So kind of put that arrow, like remember to bring the 3 down. So now for magic number, we are going to take our 2 and our positive 18, we're going to multiply them, actually this whole thing, right? So 2x squared times positive 18 is 36x squared. Oops, writing the wrong number there. 36x squared. So again, that's our magic number, magic term, and we're going to break that down. Now we do know that 36 is of course divisible by 1, so 1 times 36 is one option. 2 times 18 is an option. 3 times 12 is an option. 4 times 9. It's not divisible by 5, but it is divisible by 6, and it's 6x times 6x. So now our job is to find out which of those adds up to negative 15x. Well, what we see right here is we see 3x and 12x that adds up to 15, which is positive. So in order to use negative 15x for our middle term, we need both of these to be negative. It'll still multiply to give us 36x squared, and it will add to give us negative 15x. So now, if you remember what we do with magic number is we write the first term, so 2x squared, and the last term over here, plus 18, and we're going to take this middle term right here in blue and we're going to split it up into the two parts that we found right here. So we're going to write minus 3x minus 12x. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and put a line down the center in between the two terms on the left and the two terms on the right. When I do that, I'm going to factor out my GCF of this side. I'm going to factor out an x out of this side. And over here, I'm going to factor out a negative, because this is negative, and 6. We'll get to that one in a minute. So here I'm going to factor out x, and I'm left with 2x minus 3. And on the right-hand side, like I said, we're going to factor out a negative 6, and we're left with 2x. And then remember, if this is a plus right here, and we factor out a negative, this will become negative, so minus 3. And that's good because our parentheses match. So we're going to write the term in parentheses down next, so 2x minus 3. And then what we have after we factor out this 2x minus 3 from here and here is we have an x left and a minus 6. So x minus 6 will go in the other set of parentheses. And then last but not least, we have to remember that this 3 right here gets brought down into our final answer. And that is our final factored form. Okay, in this next example, again, the first thing we're going to do is look for a GCF. We do have a GCF of 2 because every coefficient, 4, 2, and 72, are divisible by 4. So, I'm sorry, 2. So we're going to factor out a 2. When we do so, 4 divided by 2 is 2x, plus, when we factor out a 2, we're left with x, and when we factor out a 2 from negative 72, we have negative 36. Alright, now, our leading coefficient in our quadratic situation right here is a 2. We're going to go ahead and bring this 2 down here, that 2. But this 2 tells us we're going to use magic number. So 2x squared and negative 36 gives us negative 72x squared for our magic number. Again, we're going to write down all the factors of 72, negative 72. So negative 1 and times 72, negative 2 times 36, and again you put an x with each of those, negative 3, 24, negative 4, and 18, not divisible by 5, negative 6 times 12, negative 7, sorry, it is not divisible by 7, you guys, right? 72, and 8, negative 8 times 9. So there's all of our options. Quite a few. So now we're looking again for the ones that when you add them, you get positive 1x in the middle. So right here you'll see that if you add negative 8x and positive 9x, you'll get positive 1x. So now we're going to separate out the 2x squared, the first term, and the negative 36, which is the last term. We're going to put negative 8x in the middle and positive 9x. Put that vertical line down the middle of the two terms right here. And then we're going to factor out the GCF. So there's a GCF here of 2 and x. We're going to factor out, so we'll be left with x minus 4. And over here we're going to factor out a positive 9. And when we do so, we're going to be left with x minus 4. Again, that's a good thing. Your parentheses match. So we're going to bring that out to the front, x minus 4. And what's left after you factor out this x minus 4 is 2x plus 9. So we have 2x plus 9 remaining. So there's our final factored form. Alright, so just one last example, 8x squared minus 50. Sometimes people look at this and think, well, this is different. But we're going to start it the same way. We're going to look for a GCF. And there's a GCF here of 2. They are both divisible by 2, but that's the highest or greatest common factor. And what we have left here is 4x squared minus 25. Now notice 4x squared minus 25, this right here is what we've talked about a couple times in class, called a difference of squares. And a difference of squares is always factorable. What we're going to do is put two sets of parentheses down. And 4x squared right here, what is that? That is 2x times 2x. So we're going to put 2x here and 2x here. And then we've got 25, and we know 5 times 5 is 25, so we're going to put a 5 there and a 5 here. And then we put a plus in between one and a minus between the other. Lastly, don't forget to bring down this 2, and our final factored form is 2 times 2x plus 5 times 2x minus 5.